Now, to talk more on this, let's cross over to Bristol, UK, where we have Mr. Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, with us. Mr. Gosling, good to see you again. Mr. Gosling, your thoughts on the significance of Spain demanding an arms embargo on Israel, and how likely is it to see any types of embargo or sanction against this apartheid regime or its leaders? And could you give us an example of such move taking place in the past?
Well, look, it's great to see a bit of Spanish spine in Europe. In fact, what's going on is Spain is leading Europe against Israel, calling for sanctions. And you have to understand that our governments right across Europe, although they crow on all the time about the democracy, they're not representing their people, are they? What they're doing is they're representing big, powerful financial special interests in backing this genocide. You've just shown how the British people here are supporting things like these walks across the country, and but it's by no means just Muslims. There are actually millions of ordinary British people who are supporting these marches in favour of Palestine. Plus, there is more of a move towards recognising Palestine. It's like old Netanyahu is running out of rope bit by bit, and you have to understand what's been going on in Spain. Really important, I think, to understand the politics of this, because this lady Yolanda Diaz in the Sumar party, she's actually against party politics. She's quite an interesting character. She's been a long-time member of the Communist Party. But what she's been doing is saying, actually, we need to reject party politics, just get politicians in who speak from the heart. They don't read an AI auto cue or a script. So she's criticising the whole sort of corralling of politics in Europe through party politics. Let's also understand why the communists are so interesting. Because although there are all sorts of downsides of planned economies where the planning goes wrong in communism, it is actually, but people don't necessarily understand this is a very biblical thing. In the New Testament, in the book of Acts of the Apostles, after Jesus's time on earth, what they say is the believers held all things in common. The key word being common. So this is the origin of the word communist. So this is a very spiritual movement that's going on in Spain. The Latin people, of course, are very much more expressive than the old Protestant Northern Europeans. And so really, this is a wave which is beginning, I think, to spread across Europe, with the people deciding en masse that the politicians have got it all wrong. And slowly but surely, this is a wave which will sweep these politicians away, I believe.
And Mr. Gosling, Spain also urged all UN member states to speak out against Israel's crimes. So what do you expect from these members? Till now, it's been all talk and no action, and the condemnations here and there have just been futile. And do you also believe that the UN itself has let down the Palestinians, and because of it has very much lost its credibility as well?
Look, what's going on with the EU, let's just address that second question, is fascinating, because what they're trying to do in Brussels with the European Union is to corral the European leaders in order to support the Israelis. Although they come and say some things which are pro-Palestinian and criticize Israel, there is really no action from the EU, because it is in many ways powerless. I mean, they're making lots of laws and things like that, but when it comes to this, they've really got to try and keep a lid on what the various different states are saying all across Europe, including Britain, of course, and they're trying to speak with one voice. But that voice is the wrong voice. It's a genocidalist voice, even though what they say is anti-genocide. What they're doing is they're completely failing to speak out in a very powerful way, which would be demanding sanctions, this sort of thing. And actually, of course, the European Union could be demanding sanctions as the Spanish are now saying they should. So if the EU was a credible force, they would be capturing the zeitgeist in Europe, and they would be leading the way. But they're not. What's happening is they're being dragged along by countries like Spain. And I mean, I think we also have to understand that the precedent to this is back in April, where we had the Spanish government nearly fall apart because the Spanish civil service was trying to say, no, you can't tear up this arms agreement with Israel. Well, what happened is the Spanish people, the Spanish communists, the Spanish left, and the Spanish coalition said, you have a choice. Either you collapse the government and you have fresh elections on the issue of Palestine and Israel, or else you cancel this arms agreement. And of course they cancelled the arms agreement because it would have been fascinating, wouldn't it, to have a general election in Spain and to see the Spanish people vote for these left-wing parties who are so pro-Palestine and against the genocide. So this is all piling pressure onto Netanyahu to do the right thing, which he seems absolutely incapable of doing. And they are saying from Spain as well that what Israel is doing in Gaza, of course they're right, is totally unjustifiable. And that actually what he's doing is Netanyahu is just coming up with one excuse after another. So this has to end, and it has to end now.
There you have it, as always, Mr. Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol, UK. Mr. Gosling, thank you for your time, sir.